Taiwan's ambitious plan to hit net zero emissions by the year 2050. Now, this isn't just some policy document, it's a full-on blueprint for transforming the entire nation. So, let's break down what this actually means.
Okay, so this whole roadmap is broken down into 6 key parts, and each one kind of builds on the one before it. We'll kick things off with why this is even happening. Then we'll get into the big transitions for energy, industry, and our daily lives before checking out the tech and laws that will make it all happen.
So first up, why the big push for net zero, and why right now? Well, it really boils down to 2 main things. We've got a global crisis to deal with, and at the same time, a massive economic opportunity we can't afford to miss.
Look, the science is basically screaming at us. We are in a climate emergency, and experts are warning that we're on a path to blow past a 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise in just the next 20 years. So, Taiwan is joining a huge global movement to finally take some serious action.
And here's the really critical part. This isn't just about the environment. For an economy like Taiwan's, where more than half of its GDP comes from exports, we're talking global leaders in tech, right? Well, adapting to green supply chains isn't a choice. It is an absolute economic necessity to stay in the game.
And here's the proof in the pudding that this can actually work. Just look at these numbers. Since 2005, Taiwan has grown its economy by a whopping 64%, while at the same time making every dollar it produces 34% cleaner. It's already breaking that old link between economic growth and pollution, and that's the perfect launch pad for this 2050 goal.
Okay, so that brings us to the first big strategy, a complete overhaul of the energy sector. You can think of this as the engine room for the entire plan. The whole energy strategy is built on these 3 powerful ideas. The goal isn't just to be clean, but to have a system that's also more reliable and, get this, one that actually creates new jobs and new industries. What's really smart about this table is how it shows the step-by-step game plan. The idea is to go all in on the tech we already have, like solar panels and offshore wind. But at the exact same time, they'll be testing out the next-gen stuff, like hydrogen power, so it's ready to take over down the road. All right, next up, let's talk about the industrial sector. And this is a huge piece of the puzzle, covering literally everything from heavy industry and electronics all the way to the buildings we work in.
For manufacturing, which is really the backbone of the economy, the strategy is a pretty clear 3-step process. First, you invent the new tech. Then, you prove that it works with pilot projects. And finally, you roll it out and scale it up across every industry. Simple, right? This timeline is awesome because it shows how you'll actually start to see these changes pop up in your own life. It starts with public stuff, government buildings and city buses, but then it expands until eventually every new car sold is electric and most of our homes and offices are super efficient.
Okay, let's zoom in a little, because this whole plan isn't just about big, abstract goals for power plants. It's actually designed to change our everyday lives and reshape society itself.
Just look at the difference here. This comparison makes it all feel so much more real. We're talking about a huge shift away from a world of just owning and consuming stuff to a future built on efficiency and sharing. So think less about owning a car and more about just getting around easily. It's a whole new mindset.
And this is super important. A core idea woven through this whole plan is what's called a just transition. That basically means making sure this process is fair for everyone and that no workers or communities get left behind as things change. It's about making sure we all move forward together.
So a plan this massive needs a really solid foundation, right? How do you actually make all this happen? Well, it all comes down to 2 things: pushing technology forward and creating strong new laws to back it all up.
To bring this vision to life, Taiwan is betting big on R&D in these key areas. These are the game changers, from clean hydrogen to huge batteries for the grid, and even technology that can literally grab carbon out of the air. This is the stuff that makes net zero possible. And here's the legal muscle. By upgrading the law and calling it the Climate Change Response Act, the government is taking that 2050 goal and carving it in stone, making it a legally binding target. This new law will also bring in things like carbon pricing, which creates a real financial reason for companies to clean up their act. So let's bring it all home. What does this all add up to? Well, this isn't about spending money just to meet a target. It's a massive investment in a stronger, more competitive, and more sustainable future for Taiwan. Okay, let's follow the money. The government is putting nearly 900 billion TWD behind this plan by 2030. And just look at where the biggest chunks are going. Almost half of it is being poured directly into building the core systems of the future, renewables and a modern power grid.
And this right here, this is the secret sauce. That government money is designed to be a spark. It's expected to unlock over 4 trillion TWD in private investment. That's going to create a huge wave of green innovation, new businesses, and new jobs.
And really, this quote from the plan itself just says it all, doesn't it? It's about reframing the climate crisis. It's not just a problem we have to solve. It's a massive opportunity to innovate, to build, and to create a better, more prosperous future.
So there you have it. The blueprint is on the table. A huge transformation is already starting. This plan sets the course, but it's going to take all of us to get there. Which really just leaves one final question for all of us. What part are we going to play in building that future?